Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Friday. It's Daryl here. It's bright and early, 3:30 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, today I want to talk a little bit more about, what happened to one of the husbands, one of the teachers in Uvalde, Texas, first of all. I don't even know where to start here. In my first video, after Uvalde, I talked about, from my experience, when things like this happen, losses like this happen, how it creates a void, a hole. When you lose so much, something so important, it creates a void, a hole in people, in communities, in the country that just is never filled. It's never fixed. It can't be patched. It's a piece of us that's just taken. And sometimes it's insurmountable. Sometimes it's not survivable. I talked about coincidence too, and fate in yesterday's video, because the NRA convention is being held just a few days later, a couple hundred miles away. You know, is it fate? Is it just coincidence? Because it makes the situation so much more traumatizing. It's to be acted on. It brings it to the forefront so much more. All right. So this morning, a series of stories happened, one after the other, that really makes me question if there is any such thing as coincidence. One of the first stories was about Columbine. I remember what happened in Columbine. Okay. The NRA convention that year was held in Denver, just a few miles away. Now that kind of blew my mind, because I was talking about, it's just coincidence with the NRA convention, how it makes this situation just so much more. I don't even know the word to describe it. People defend one's on one side, and people just say this is enough on the other side. And this NRA convention, especially right there at this time, just amps it all up so much more. Then I find out that it's the same thing happened in Denver. And you have to start asking yourself, is this divine intervention? Is this fate? Is this just the will of the universe telling us to do something, to act? I don't know. So then another story comes on this morning. This is the start of the Memorial Day weekend, which is I've been dreading this day. I've been dreading this weekend for the last 7 months since I lost Audrey. This day. And a story comes on this morning about Irma and Jose Garcia. Now, Irma Garcia was a teacher that lost her life in Uvalde, Texas, a day or two ago. Jose Garcia was her husband of 24 years, I believe. And he placed flowers on her grave yesterday. A memorial. Placed flowers on a memorial. And he went home. And he wasn't home for more than 3 minutes. All these links will be down below. And he sat down. He wasn't even sitting down in the house for 3 minutes. And he fell over, dead. Could not be revived from an apparent heart attack. Now, down below, there's going to be a link to a cardiologist that talks about stress myopathy. Stress cardiomyopathy, or heartbreak syndrome. This cardiologist talks about how he deals with at least 50 cases of this every year, of spouses dying after they lose someone. And again, this brings me back to what I talked about right after this happened, about how it leaves a hole in our lives, and it affects people profoundly. Communities in the country, it just doesn't go away. These holes are never filled. I know it's not a pleasant thing to say. It's not something people want to hear, but it's the truth. And all this is, all this is happening on Memorial Day, or just before Memorial Day, the day that I'm dreading. I don't know exactly. I felt a difference in my personality over the last week, especially. I don't feel like myself. Memorial Day, through all of our relationship, when we got together over the last 6 years, me and Audrey, I lost Audrey on August 5th, pneumonia-related COVID. I'd seen her just a couple weeks before. She was fine. I asked her if she got her vaccination. She said no, she didn't want to get vaccinated. And she spent a horrible couple weeks in ICU, hooked up to ventilators, and I never talked to her again. I got one text from her. I kept texting her, I love you, I'm with you, I want to come down and see you, but nobody could get in ICU. And I got one smiley face and a heart when she was lucid enough to send it. Every year we used to go away on Memorial Day since we first got together. It was our thing. Even when we were apart, even if we hadn't, there was a couple periods where we went our separate ways, mostly due to me, and I blame myself for not wanting to get married, and we would still get together as friends and go to the beach for 4 days on Memorial Day. It was the biggest, we both loved the beach. Memorial Day is the start of it here in Connecticut, and and I'm just lost on this day. So I've been wondering, and ever since I lost her, it came up in my head about how this is going to affect me. When my grandmother died, my grandfather passed away shortly after, and it looked like a heartbreak syndrome, or whatever you want to call it. We've all heard stories of this. And I've kind of wondered about the effects on myself. And all this is culminating on the day that I've been dreading. Now, me and Audrey went back all the way. Her sister sent me, she found a journal when she was cleaning out Audrey's home after she passed away. And she found a journal from when she was only 10 years old, I think. And we were each other's first boyfriend and girlfriend at 10 years old. And her sister sent me a page from that journal. I'll probably put it up here. And it talked about how she went ice skating that day. We used to go ice skating at a prep school near here. And Audrey wrote her 10-year-old writing. Daryl was there. He's my boyfriend. I love him. And this just broke my heart. It made me realize that she was my soulmate. And I dropped the ball, and all this, this has just all been on my mind. And I have to wonder, is this coincidence? I don't know. One more thing happened yesterday that just made me question everything. Every day I take a bike ride, and I've been doing this since I lost two of my best friends right out of high school. Two of my best friends. One friend, I went skiing with him one weekend. Next weekend, he went skiing without me and hit a tree and broke his neck. My other best friend was pallbearer at his funeral. He died on a motorcycle a few months later, and this kind of messed my mind. And I started doing things that were dangerous. I had a very fast car I've talked about, a 73 Formula Firebird. I used to drop my girlfriend off at night. I was about 18 years old. And every single night, I would light up a joint and I would speed down a long highway, doing about 115 miles an hour, 120 miles an hour, tempting fate. Every night I do this. And I don't know, it was just my way to feel alive, to flip off death. I don't know. So yesterday, I'm riding my bike. Even where I used to live and where I live now, I find these stretches to ride my bike where I go down long, steep hills for a lot of speed. I've been doing this for 15 years now, every day, and I don't wear a helmet. And there's a reason I'm talking about this. Yesterday, I was going down that same hill. It's about a mile and a half. And it gets steeper and steeper and steeper until I'm flying. And a car came alongside me. And usually I get going so fast, it's a highway, and I get going so fast that I'm going faster than the cars. There's a period where no cars pass me because they're all behind me. And there's a car like pacing me next to me. I have to pay attention to the road because I'm going very fast. And I go to the park after, and I see this guy. He's down at the park waiting for me. And he says, dude, what are you, out of your mind? He says, I clocked you at between 38 and 41 miles an hour. Can you believe that? On a mountain bike. And, and it stunned me. I didn't know what to say. I honestly felt like I did something wrong. And I knew in the back of my head why I do this. Part of me, I gave up using, and there was a rush to using, a tempting fate, a big F-U at death. After losing my dad, both my grandmother, both grandmothers, both grandfathers, two of my best friends, Audrey. It's a big F-U to fate, and I know that I can't keep tempting fate like this. I know that sooner or later I'm going to lose. And, just yesterday, this is brought to my attention about how, because I don't really think about it anymore. I just do it. It's a little bit of a rush. It's my usual ride. But yesterday, the day before Memorial Day, the day that I'm talking about, Jose Garcia dropping dead from stress cardiomyopathy. And this guy tells me, stresses to me how fatally fast I'm on the bike with no helmet. Because I bend down under the wind, and I could barely look up to see ahead of me, to go as fast as possible. And I do this every day, and I have to wonder, is this fate or is this coincidence? All these things I'm reading about what happened to Jose Garcia. Right before Memorial Day, the day that I've been dreading from the loss of Audrey. And this guy stressing to me what I'm doing is dangerous. I don't know. I'm starting to think there's no such thing as coincidence anymore. God rest both Irma and Jose Garcia. They have 4 children. And I can honestly say my prayers are with them. I do pray, and when I say that, I mean it. All right. You guys have a good Friday.